The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 22nd day of November, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Tamara McHale will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sister Sherry, why are you all dressed up?
I'm dressed up just because I'm gonna want a turtleneck.
Looks like a
Oh,
everything. Like, I know we got a top-notch guest today, and we're talking investing, but I didn't think he was gonna look the part.
I gotta be business, like at least from the waist up.
Right. We don't want the cameras going lower, folks.
And then it was this situation going on, so I didn't want my arms out really.
Right. But yeah. You don't want it to show too much skin, No. This is a morning show, folks. This is a morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Jason Lowe on to discuss finance and investing. The daily play is more holiday trivia. So let me just say, as far as our guest today, we've been encouraged to have this gentleman on. I've never met Mr. Lowe, but we've been encouraged for probably over a year to try to get him on. Sometimes getting in contact with people is tough, but it's one of the most important conversations for us, and I say us. Luckily, I had a mother who was always influential in terms of make sure you set up retirement pensions and mutual funds and so on. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, because if it's one thing I remember when I was not first because I've been here a long time, but when I was living in New York, a friend of mine had a daughter and she went to help her file taxes, and the gentleman at the tax office said, well, what is she going to do with this money? And she was like, oh, put it in her savings. Says, no. We're always discussing savings. She needs to invest it. Right. So I love these kind of conversations. And my hope is that we, come out of these conversations with a mutual fund or stocks, or at least an understanding of how the options that we have before us. Now, you see me keep looking over, right? Because the game's still going on. It is World Cup.
Oh my gosh.
Argentina. Well, let me tell you, folks. Sherry said to me, see, Sancha, Maya, and Tamara, they haven't said it, but I know they've been thinking it too. Sherry said last night, oh, you guys need to get your own group for the World Cup. Oh, man.
I said a whole side chat for that World Cup shenanigans is what I said. Because it was like 20 messages, and I'm like, oh, what? And I was like, you made?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I was like, this is all World Cup?
Yeah, Phil and Larry talking about the World Cup. Me, I was just like, oh, okay. World Cup's one? Who knew?
All you saw was messages. Jamal, Phil, Larry, Jamal.
Hold on. Larry was texting more than me. Thank you. Anyway, we're not fighting about the World Cup. We got some important. Well, you know what? Since we're talking about the World Cup, let's discuss some things about the World Cup. Well, right now, one of the biggest upsets in the history of World Cups taking place. Argentina's down 2-1 to Saudi Arabia, which is huge. And I don't want to get into the politics of Argentina, but just over the last decade, more and more people have really tried to understand, how does almost every country, even the whitest of Scandinavian, have a black player, but Argentina doesn't? So the more people are starting to understand the history about Argentina, they're waking up like, I can't support this team. Me, on the other hand, love Messi, would love to see Messi do well. But hey, bruh, it's your team. But let's get into some things about the World Cup, Barry.
Because I felt like that was a whole message that was in one of the chats. Like,
Yeah. It's been in some of my chats. But I think, Bermuda's a tourist destination, right? And I think
right.
Bermuda has been fighting with an identity crisis over the last few years, if not decades. That
Hmm.
identity crisis, Sherry, is, not knowing who we are, what we're going to promote. Are we Bermuda Shorts? Are we Bermuda Triangle? Are we Dark Stormy? Are we
Fish sandwiches.
fish sandwiches? Are we reggae music, or are we soca music? Are we supporters of LGBT? Are we weed? Are we casino? Like, there's when you think Las Vegas, what you think first?
Gambling.
When you think Orlando, what you think first?
Disney World.
When you think Jamaica, what you think first?
Weed.
Wow, not reggae? My goodness. My goodness. Well, when you think Trinidad, what you think first?
Soca.
When you think Dubai, what you think first?
Desert.
I thought she was going to say Camel Field.
That was a good one. That was a good one, babe. But desert and camel go hand in hand. So yes, that was a good one.
My point is, you think Bermuda. My idea when I meet somebody say I'm from Bermuda, first thing most of them say is, oh, about that triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you ask Bermudians, and I think Charles Jefferson actually said this when he first started, he really spoke about that. What we're talking about. It was like, what do people think when they think Bermuda, right? We have to address that. And so the reason I think this is an important conversation is there's been a lot of controversy over where the World Cup is held. It's being held in Qatar, right? Qatar is in what's considered the Middle East. It's an Arab nation. And Qatar has some very strict rules and laws. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but they might be a Sharia law. I mean, Saudi Arabia is, right?
Mm-hmm.
What that means is there's no, right now there's some of the teams said that they wanted to wear the rainbow flag on their the captain band, right, in support of the LGBTQ plus community, right? And FIFA told them no, right? We have a reporter yesterday, Alex Scott, who wore it in defiance. And then you had other people who tried to get into the stadium with the rainbow symbol, right, as support for the LGBTQ plus. But I guess my question, and the game is final, Saudi Arabia did beat Argentina 2-1, probably the biggest upset you'll see in the World Cup. You're getting it live and direct here. But not to be distracted from the point. How I mean, folks, when people come to Bermuda, Bermudians are very sensitive people. Y'all got a non-Bermudian that comes to work in Bermuda, right? And if they walk in that office and don't say good morning,
Listen.
you all want to beat them up and drag them around the office. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bermudians are very sensitive about their cultural means, right? Their cultural norms, right? So why is it? Now, again, some people, I know what people are going to go. They're going to say, oh, well, not how are you going to compare manners with someone's human rights, right? But that's our perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Qataris and some of the Arab nations don't believe that is human rights. They don't believe that it's someone's human rights. They believe it's a choice. That's their way of living, right? But I agree, we are such hypocrites. We are such hypocrites, and I'm going to explain why. Because I mentioned on this show before, Sherry, that some years ago when that missionary went to that island off of India and was found murdered on the beach, right? It was an island, an island in the Indian Ocean where tribes live, and you're not allowed to go on these islands. But this missionary went there to try save and whatnot. All of a sudden, people were saying things like, "Oh, people have to respect people and respect." But hold on, where do we draw that line?
Mm-hmm.
So where do we draw the line about respecting other countries' laws and cultural norms? Where do we draw? That's your question. Where do we draw the line about respecting other countries' laws and cultural norms? Where do we draw it, Sherry?
Well, For me, I'm kind of torn in the sense of when we look at it, you're talking about either culture or laws, right? Where do you draw the line? And for me, most times I just kind of go with the flow. Don't want to upset the apple cart. I mean, especially in another country.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Locked Up Abroad? Like seriously,
Yeah.
So I mean, with that being said, though, Jamal, I think that you know someone's belief in who they are is something that we can't take away, right? At some point, we were slaves. And if there was no upset of the apple cart, enslaved, sorry, upset of the apple cart, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Some say that we haven't gone very far, but in retrospect, we have to some certain degree. I just think if you're going to go to a different country and you're going to take a stance, just know all the rules and all the consequences that come along with it. That's it. Have somebody have bail money, have your lawyers on hand, have all of those kind of things. If you're going to go in there with this purpose, I don't like I'm just going to show up and just
But,
just do it.
But I want to go back to what you said. How many times have we seen in the Royal Gazette, Bermuda's daily paper, the amount of cruise ship visitors who've been arrested and charged with possession of marijuana? Personally, no, I don't feel sorry for them. I'm not that Bermudian that's going to say, oh, relax the law. No, the law is the law.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm a person who fought a law. I was arrested. I was charged with stuff because I believed in what I was fighting, but I also understood the consequences, right? There are consequences. Again, Maya says it, Sherry says it, we all say it. There are consequences to action. I want to get to the audience though. Folks, we're talking about people who don't respect Qatar's laws, right? Where do we draw the line on other countries' laws and cultural norms? Let's go to the audience. Mia Hartman says their laws, if you don't like it, don't go. The Western world is too disrespectful. Sean Smith and Resam for you, Sherry.
If those countries felt that strong, then they should have pulled out of the World Cup. Sean, I thought about that too.
But that's it right there. That's go ahead, Sherry. I'm got a lot to say about that.
I thought about that as well. I was like, if we knew that this country had all of these stipulations, knowing the amounts of people that were going to come from the world to this one particular, why are we having it there? If it was you can't drink, you can't, support your community, the LGBTQ2 plus, you probably have to, dress a certain way. You have to, all of these things. It just feels like it's so much pressure into something that is supposed to be enjoyable.
And that's it. That's it. I agree. And again, this is not. I'd like to hear from the LGBT. We know we have a lot of people who in the LGBT community who tune into this show, and I'd love to hear from you because I've always said support for the LGBT community is one thing, right? That's one thing, but I'm not so interested in wanting to fight to be a part of things. I'm all good breaking down barriers, but I'm not. I don't want to be where I'm not welcomed or wanted. I'm not. Oh, they don't want me in that church. We go create our own church. Oh, they don't want me in that park. We put together funds. We create our own park. That's how I think.
Right.
That's me. And I'm not saying you all need to think like that as well. But to Sean Smith's point, if these players, right, if these journalists, if these folks felt so strongly, then guess what? Why be Whoopi Goldberg and others who said if President Trump wins the election, they'll leave the U.S. and stay? No, leave. Don't go. Because otherwise, your hypocrisy sounds louder than your conscious voice. Let's go back to the audience. Folks, what are your thoughts? There's been a lot of talk about people in Qatar, right? The players are upset. FIFA told them they can't wear the rainbow flag captain's armband. There are reporters who have worn it, and basically some have said that they haven't been allowed in the stadium. And then there are fans who have gone and tried to wear the symbol as well and get into the stadium. This country is all they've asked is that people respect their laws, their culture, and their rules. That's it. It's no different. Again, Bermudians, get a hissy fit when someone enters let's say the new person comes in the room in Bermuda, the office, right? First thing in the morning, Sherry, everybody's there talking about in the water cooler about the ex-husband's girlfriend from the weekend before, right? Everybody's talking about it. And the new person comes in and does watch this one, and keeps walking. What? She ain't got no manners. Because she doesn't understand. She doesn't know that.
Let me say this, Jamal. For me, it took a little while to understand also that I am the minority and I'm in a different culture. So when I first started working here in the US, I used to be like, good morning, and people just looking at me. And I'm just like, they are so rude. And at this point, I'm an adult and I'm thinking I should kind of be over this, but I wasn't. And then finally, I just had to say, like, okay, at the end of the day, this is not my space. This is their space. And this is how they carry on, and not to take it so personal. But by the time I was finished, everybody was coming past my office. Morning, Sherry. Because they got tired of me.
Well, you know what, Sherry? Don't change your opinion about them. They're still rude. To me, it's still unbelievable.
But is it?
You can enter a room. It's still unbelievable to me that people can enter a room and not acknowledge others. Like, trust me, I've worked in the U.S. I've only had 3 years of my career in Bermuda. The rest has been New York. It still is abnormal to me that people can enter a room. But as Sherry said, it's something I've had to get used to. Now, I'm going to express some hypocrisy to you right now. I'm going to express my own hypocrisy. I don't care how long I'm in the U.S., living, being whatever. I will never call the world's game soccer. It's football. And we will settle that on Friday when the U.S. faces England. But anyway, let's get back to the audience. Where do we draw the line on other countries' laws and cultural norms? Sam says, I'm with you, Jamal. Respect the country and their culture or don't visit. Angeline Butler says it's pretty much the same. Respect is due or don't visit. She goes on to say, but it's only for 30 days, right? Meaning you can go watch the games and then leave. You don't have to go, spend money and enjoy, have a good time. Karen Simmons says, this to me is about respect, laws, and choices. Weigh your options to make decisions. Folks, there are places I really won't visit. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no interest in visiting Russia. I have no interest in visiting North Korea. I have no interest in really visiting Scandinavian countries. I have no interest in visiting Argentina. Those are my personal choices for various reasons. My reason in saying that is, if you don't like something about a country or culture, no one is forcing you to go there. It's not like conscription, where basically your name's called, you've got to go to the regiment or you get arrested. There's no consequences for not going. That makes sense? There are consequences for going and then going against their laws and cultural norms, but there's no consequences for staying your ass at home.
It's some citizen Georgia I won't get for obvious reasons.
Yeah, you do live in the deep south, shit.
Not the deep.
Yeah, no, you deep. You be below that Mason Dixie. I mean, technically I would be, but I'm more in the Caribbean. I'm more Caribbean than I am.
Yeah.
South, yeah.
I just agree. Like, but should people not be themselves in no matter where they go?
I mean, if being yourself means that it can get you arrested, by all means, go ahead. I'm not
the consequence.
Cigarettes. No,
just know the consequences. It's just like, and I mentioned Locked Up Abroad, right? And when you look at that show, you see there is so many different laws and different cultural norms that if you go up, against that, you can be in prison for like 40 years for a small little bit of marijuana that you might have in your pocket. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting. Like, just know the laws, know where you're going, and know the culture, and be respectful of it.
Indeed. Back to the questions. Where do we draw the line on other countries' laws and cultural norms? Sherry Mia Hartman.
Everywhere has rules and regulations. Some I like and some I don't. You must follow them or be prepared for consequences. I believe those going with armbands are looking for trouble. It's been said not to wear rainbow flags. This is not Burger King. You can't always have it your way.
I like that one. But here's the thing. she's absolutely right. Sherry, I was always told, nephew, I don't know which one of my uncles said, probably all of them, because that's just the kind of child I was. But they always told me, don't go looking for trouble, because trouble will always have a way of finding you anyway, right?
Yeah.
I never listened, hence conscription. But anyway, the point is she's right. People are legit, almost like they're looking to be a hero. And that's what it's coming across as. The hero syndrome. It's like, oh, I'm going to go Qatar and break these laws. Oh, they say that I can't wear my rainbow flag. Well, I'm going to do it.
And then tweet about it.
Exactly. Then tweet about it. Let me tell you the difference. My name was put in the paper to be conscripted. I didn't just decide to let me fight it. No, I would have anyway, because I just disagreed with the law. But that was a law that impacted me and people in the country where I lived, right? But folks, going to another country to prove your point, you don't have to be there. All I'm going to say is more power to you. More power to you. Sam kept place. I mean, it's always been strict. I don't think it would have hurt to just respect their laws just this one time. Good grief. Manuela John says, when you know the rules, regulations, and culture, you don't intend to abide by them. Go with the understanding of possibilities. Make your choice. Reese Sam says, Jamal, you are my twin. You don't know it. I travel a lot, and I ain't never going to Russia or North Korea. Well, if we were twins, you would know that my name is Jamal, not Jamal. You know, I was going to give it to him. Now, but I see your point. No, that's twice.
When I saw that popped up, saw that pop up, I was like,
you know,
not his twin.
You all know I'm sensitive about my name, but no, fair point that Reese Sam makes. It's like, you know, you've got to know, like you've got to know, like, come on, folks, come on, do better. Mal says, when in Rome, do as the Romans. You know, someone said this to me in the U.S. about 16, 17 years ago. It was an argument again over soccer football, right? I was like, folks, you don't play football, you throw a ball. Like I was arguing with people in college, right? You know me. And they said, yeah, Jamal, you never heard this saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans? I'm like, well, this ain't no damn Roman, right? But to the point, folks, and it's respectfully. I'm all for people fighting for what they believe. I'm all for people standing up for what they believe. I truly am. I really, really am, as a person who's done so myself. But I'm also about understanding consequences. I'm also, Sherry, really remember, stop trying to be heroes. Stop trying to like be that person. If we could have ended conscription without my name ever being public, I would have preferred that. It wouldn't have cost me as many opportunities. Trust me. So I just think right now, everyone's trying to be a hero. Everyone, oh, I'm getting rid of this rainbow flag. I'm going to do this. But really?
For what reason?
What's your real reason? You want 10 more Twitter or Instagram followers because it's popular? Or do you actually really believe it? What I will say is, I don't know if I'll be able to send you any cigarettes or canteen money in jail in Qatar. I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know what the laws are. I don't even know if they allow cigarettes in there or, canteen money. But
listen.
One last comment before we go bring Tamara in. Mia Hartman says, okay, Barbados, you can't wear camouflage because their police force wears it. So folks will wear it because they want to. Now go get stopped and arrested. Jamel, remember, Rode did and was escorted back to the ship. Their rules followed them. I don't remember that, but I think she's saying my aunt actually did that and got in trouble. I mean, well, they didn't arrest her. Too bad. Hey, look, let's bring in Tamara McHale. We've got Jason Lowe coming up as well, folks. This is a very important conversation. I encourage you. I encourage you to share this conversation now. We're talking financial planning, investing. More of us need to do it. I am honestly so grateful for the mother that I had who got me involved early on and said, no, you need to put such and such into whatever account, not a savings account, but mutual fund. I was all into mutual funds at a young age, folks, and still, even after MBA, don't quite get it. I don't. Let's bring Tamara McHale in. It's time for the news break, folks.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Jamal and Sherry.
Good morning.
Well, welcome. First off, you came back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You know, I mean, we didn't scare you off, but no,
You
it's
thought
great.
I disappeared?
No, I don't know. You know, Sancha and Sherry, you know, they could be pretty tough people. They scare people
Well,
off.
I was gonna say Jamal tends to scare people off way more than us.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, ain't nobody going. But
I
no.
came back. Interesting discussion so far. I'm enjoying it. But you
Well,
are right. People should respect the country's rights.
mhm.
You know, are there rules? Are there laws?
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, you know, it's when you have a passport and you're allowed to travel to different places. You know, I'm not a TV person like Sherry, so I've seen about one or two episodes of Arrested Abroad. But if that don't wake you up, I don't know. I mean, there's no chance. Even as you go throughout the region, whether you're going to Barbados, whether you're visiting Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, all three of those countries have different laws, right? It's up to each individual to know the laws of that country and respect them. So my hope is that this conversation has woken, well, I'm going to think that our audience is smart enough to know that if they go and break laws, we ain't putting together no GoFundMe because you knew the rules. All right. Yeah.
You heard it.
Yeah. What you got in news for us? Come on, give it to us. Give it to us.
All right, Jamal. Good morning again, everyone. So I'm Tamara McHale, and this is the Daily News Break for today, Tuesday, November 22, brought to you by the People's Pharmacy. So in the news today, giving an update on a story that Maya reported yesterday on. So out of Bermuda, the police are reporting that the 21-year-old man who was reported missing was actually found safe and sound last night. So some great news there. The Bermuda Police Service and the Coast Guard said they had searched across the island for Kenny Smith, who had last been seen at 2 p.m. yesterday. And according to a police spokesman, the Bermuda Police Service at around 5 p.m. yesterday located Kenny Smith in the Paget area safe and well. And the police is expressing thanks to the public for their assistance in locating him.
I will say this. I'll say this, that once I saw the report from the Royal Gazette stating that they had Coast Guard involved, I was extremely concerned for the well-being of that young man. So I am extremely happy that it was a positive result in the end.
Indeed. And also from Bermuda, some senators say the government is ducking what should be top priorities in the coming legislative year. The claim was made during a debate in the upper house yesterday on the throne speech, which was delivered earlier this month. So Owen Darrell, the government Senate leader, kicked off the debate by attacking last week's opposition One Bermuda Alliance throne speech reply, which he described as rambling.
I'm sorry.
This guy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just continue. I'm no politics on from me today. No.
Okay. And on some lighter news from Bermuda, the Hamilton Princess and Beach Club have collaborated with Isabel Ramsey Brackstone of Lily Bermuda to create a fragrance called Island Rose. So a spokesperson said two of Bermuda's iconic and historic brands have come together in a perfect marriage of place and time. I'm quoting that. The new fragrance reflects the legacy of Bermuda's famous hotel, a property which has evolved through more than a century of Bermuda's tourism iteration. So yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Have you got had Lily perfumes before, Sherry?
Yes.
Okay, we gotta get tomorrow some. They're really cool. I mean, we'll make sure we get you some so you can smell them and experience them.
I'd love that. And on to some other regional news here in Jamaica. Citizens are being warned that the country could experience what is being described by the National Road Safety Council Vice Chairman Dr. Lucian Jones as a tsunami of road deaths if crashes continue unabated, particularly during the Christmas period when recklessness tends to increase among road users. So he's arguing that resources need to be put in place now to prevent the worst. And he noted that up to yesterday, Monday, there were 365 crashes, resulting overall so far since the year has started, 419 deaths. So
Wow.
be
Wow.
careful on the road. And speaking of crashes in Barbados, 23 persons were injured and at least 3 seriously when 2 minibuses collided on Monday. That's yesterday, of course, at the Prospect Main Road in St. James, leaving the busy Highway 1 closed for several hours. But the authorities say that they are grateful that the injuries were no more worse. So be careful on the roads, especially as the Christmas comes.
Yeah.
And finally, wrapping it up in Trinidad and Tobago, with land slippages occurring across various parts of South Trinidad and also in Tobago, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is promising mass road works as soon as the rainy season is over. And he was speaking on Sunday at a PNM Women's League event. So he said that the government will be borrowing a significant amount of money from the Andean Bank to assist with this road infrastructure.
Interesting.
So those are some of what's making the stories in Bermuda and across the region. And I have a bit of weather. Do you want some weather?
Yeah, real quickly though, but I just wanted to touch on the consistencies that road safety seems to be of interest in across the region. And I think consciously we all need to do our part. Like, road safety is about accountability, self-accountability. So just wanted to touch on that. What's the weather looking like? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's a major concern, and we just have to be careful, as you mentioned, while we're traversing the roads. And in a bit of weather, so for those who in Bermuda, Bermudans can expect a cloudy and damp start to the day. So for today, it's cloudy in the morning with a chance of early rain or showers, but they are saying that they will be drying towards the midday period. So I'm just reporting what the weather is saying there.
They're not going to like reports. I don't know.
None of us can look out our window.
I can't even look outside to tell you.
Is it better in Jamaica?
Yeah, here in Jamaica, no, it's sunny at the moment. But this afternoon, the Met Service says we can get isolated showers across some parishes. But it's bright and sunny.
All righty. All right. Well, Sherry, you got any days of the year to brighten up all of our hearts?
I do, and I think it's a combination of the weather and kind of some of the news. But it's very Bermudian thing to do is to go for a drive on a Sunday, right? So remember back in the day, it's like, let's get out of the house and go for a drive. Well, today is Go for a Ride Day. Today, we encourage you to get out in the world, hop on your bike, into your car, or simply get your walking boots out of storage and go on a trip. Don't worry too much about where you're going. Just enjoy the journey. What with all the cell phones and emails constantly intruding in our lives, we can all agree everyone needs to just get away from it all and feel free now and then. And what better way than just go for a ride?
Yeah, I'll do that in between World Cup games, but appreciate that, Sherry. Tamara, thank you so much. We will see you later.
Thank you, Sherry. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Tamara McHale, folks. Do not go anywhere. We've got a very important conversation with a great guest, Jason Lowe, coming up after these messages from our partners. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
She wanted to raise the next big thing in softball. So she got me a leather glove, an authentic leather glove. I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and she would take me out back and throw the ball at me, at which point we realized that it was hitting other parts of my body other than my glove. And I couldn't throw, I couldn't catch, I was not good at hitting the ball. So she was like, listen, I can't raise an unathletic child. So we got to find something you can do.
Welcome back to the big show, Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you missed that was a conversation I had on Jamel Hartman Unscripted with Katora Horton-Parent-Chief. An incredible journey that she's had. I would encourage, especially if you have young people, to watch that show. And parents, I think you would learn, or guardians learn just as much, the sacrifice and what her mother did to ensure that she had an opportunity to succeed in the sport that she eventually became known for. So very great conversation with her. Also, I always forget the people who tune in on the radio. Like, I know you can't see us here, so you can't see Sherry's facial reactions when she's messing up her face at you all. But thank you all for tuning in via radio. And we obviously show everyone on YouTube, because that's where the bulk of you tune in. We show you more love than Facebook, because Facebook folks, you got to transfer. Like, we ain't gonna be on Facebook soon, so you want to get over on YouTube, but you get left behind. We trying to stick with you, but we're you want to join the rest of your family over on YouTube. Without further ado, though, we have a guest. Let's bring in our guest for today. We've got Jason Lowe. We're talking investing. We're talking finances. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Morning, sir. Morning. Stop. They're going crazy for you. Morning, my brother. How are you? Uh-oh. We can't hear you. Can you hear him, Sherry?
No, I can't.
Technical challenges. Audio.
We fixed this.
We certainly did.
What about now? Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. There we go. You know what? Somebody was trying to sabotage this important conversation. That's what it was.
Extremely important. Extremely.
I like the adjectives already. I love it. But before we get into it, let's just tell the people, who you, because one thing is people tend to tune in a bit more when they understand who's sharing information for some reason. With me, they just tune out. So tell us a bit about who you are, your background, before we get into it.
Well, first, let me say thank you for having me on this show. Not so much a thank you for me following that intense conversation, right? Because that's a very good conversation. But yes, I'm Jason Lowe. I'm a financial advisor. I work for International Financial Planning, also known as Proven Wealth, right? So over the next 3 to 6 months, we will be going through a rebranding strategy and become Proven Wealth and part of the Proven Group, which is a much larger company. But IFP, we've been in Bermuda for over 20 years. And generally what I do is the majority of the time I work with individuals and assist them with their savings and investment goals, right? A little bit about myself. I've been with the company now for 6 years. I'm Bermudian, born here, spent some time growing up in the States, and then came back to Bermuda before going off to pursue my further education. So that's me in a nutshell.
All righty.
He said I'm Bermudian.
Hey, that's a statement that has to be made, folks.
Love it.
But let's talk about it. Just explain the value, because as you heard earlier, I mentioned that a friend of mine was doing her daughter's taxes for her. And The gentleman asked, well, what is she going to do with this money? He said, oh, put it in her savings. And he said, no, not savings. We need to start investing. Just explain the value of investing versus saving.
Well, let me start off by saying both are very important, right? You need savings and you have to invest, right? So let's understand the difference between both. So savings is money that you have access for the near term, right? That's monies that you set aside that you have for a specific purpose or for emergencies, right? So it's important to have your emergency fund set aside, as well as setting aside money for, again, specific purposes. It could be paying your child's private school education. It could be a trip that you're going on in 3 months. It could be, if you're in Bermuda, a new bike that you're going to buy or Christmas presents. Those are things that you want to save for, right? You want to have those money set aside. Now, after you set those monies aside and after you have your emergency fund in place, and for those of you who don't know what an emergency fund is, some people would say it's 3 months. Others would say it's as much as 6 months of your fixed living expenses, right? So those things that you have to pay every single month, rain, blow, or shine, right? Multiply that by 6, that's your emergency fund. And I like to use 6 months. I'm very conservative as far as that's concerned. Now, after you've got to the point where you've satisfied that emergency fund, what do you do with the rest of that money, right? You can't just leave it in your savings account, right? If you look at your savings account, it's giving you next to nothing in interest. Then you tack on fees on top of that, right? Savings account fees, $5 now, okay? So investment is where you put your money for the longer term for a specific purpose to get a better return on your money using compound interest growth, right? So we have to invest, right? We're not going to be able to retire comfortably or provide for your child's education or potentially even make a down payment on a property without having an investment strategy.
I absolutely love the way you broke that down. And I think we have tended to make decisions. Oh, forget savings, we need to invest. But no, saving for gifts, saving for like certain things that you want to do, a trip, right? A trip.
I said maintenance, vehicles,
Yeah. I thank you for that. Let's speak about this. This is the most interesting question or conversation that I see people having. People always say the earlier the better. Some people say now. When is the best time to start investing? Knowing everyone's situation is different.
Right. Well, if you have the means to invest, which most of us do, as long as we budget and be very mindful about where we put our money, the best time to start investing was yesterday. Right. Now, what's the next best time to yesterday? It's today. Right. So your biggest friend in investment is time. Right. The earlier you start, the better. Okay. And let me tell you, sitting in the position that I sit in and meeting with the people that I meet with every single day, it's critical that you start investing as soon as possible, right? Too often do I sit down with people in their late 50s, 60s, and honestly, they cannot retire. They're going to have to continue working well into their 70s. So if you have the opportunity to start investing now, regardless of what age you are, the best time to start is now.
Folks, if you have any questions or comments for Jason Lowe, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. Go ahead, Sherry.
No, Jason's like putting the fear in me differently, right? It's just like you're talking with such passion. It's like, I should have did this already. But, so what are some reasons to consider investing?
Well, several,
money,
right?
sorry.
There's a lot of different reasons, right? So let's just look at money in and of itself, right? And especially in today's environment when we consider something like inflation, right? So inflation is basically, over the longer term, right? Over the past 10 years or so, within the developed world, specifically in Bermuda, inflation runs at about 3%, right? That's the effect that it has on your money. So essentially your $100 today, a year from now, is only going to be worth 97, right? So you have to be able to do something with this money to fight off inflation. Now, in today's day and age, inflation is through the roof, right? We're looking at 7.7% the last time I saw it. Things are becoming more expensive. So how do we combat inflation? We can do that by investing, right? Putting those monies into the stock market, into bonds if you want to be more risk averse, or into mutual funds and ETFs, right? So that's just one reason to invest, because inflation's just eating away at our money. The other is for specific purposes, right? Everyone has to retire. Whether you want to do it or not, at some point you are going to have to retire. You're either going to be too tired, or you're not going to be able to do what you were able to do to earn a living, right? So you've got to set aside some money and invest for retirement. Your pension alone is not going to do it. Think about it. If you're setting aside 5% and your employer is setting aside 5%, that's 10% of your monthly income that's being invested. Okay, add compound interest to that. It's still not going to be enough, right? Your pension alone is not going to be enough to sustain you during retirement years, especially because we're living a little bit longer. So I don't want to scare you, but I do want to motivate you that you need to start. You need to start investing. Outside of retirement, we've got education planning. Some people may want to invest for an investment property or property purchase or getting a down payment, but there's a lot of reasons. But we've got to do
it. Jason. So there's so many different ways to invest. So what are some of them? You talk about mutual funds, stocks, bonds. It all sounds like foreign language to me.
Yeah, and it can be, right? It can be quite confusing. The first thing I tell my clients when I sit down with them is I want to make this as simple as possible, right? So when you talk about stocks, bonds, ETFs, futures, margins trading, all of that gets very complicated, right? But those are just types of investments. Those are assets, right? Things that you can invest in. But let's break it down. Let's make it simple. There's two ways that you can invest. You can invest in a lump sum, or you can invest via something we call a regular savings, right? And don't get mixed up by the term regular savings, because it is purely an investment. So for example, a lump sum is any amount of money that you take, you inject it into the market, and you're looking for some sort of return, okay? Or in some cases, you could be looking for income, right? So that return would be capital appreciation. That would be you investing in an asset, that asset appreciating in value and increasing the value of your money. Okay. Now, passive income, you can invest in an asset that generates income. It may pay you a percentage based off of the money that you've invested, or you could get a dividend payment, right? A dividend payment is, an agreement from the asset that, as long as you invest with us, we'll give you a certain percentage every year or every quarter or every single month, right? So that's lump sum investing. Very straightforward. Put your money in and you're looking for return. Now, a very simple and accessible way to invest in is something that we call a regular savings. So a regular savings is a disciplined approach to investing, right? In which you agree to inject money into the market over a set time frame, okay, over the medium to long term, all right? And what you do is you inject that money into the market on a consistent basis, right? On a set frequency. And that frequency can be whatever you want it to be. It could be monthly, it could be quarterly, it could be yearly. But what you're doing is you're designating a certain amount of money to inject into the market. And that can be as low as a couple $100s, right? So you don't need a lot of money to start investing. You just need to start investing.
Well, I feel like you've kind of answered this, but I've found investing to be quite scary. As I sit here and listen to you talk, and I'm just like, But for some people who are interested in investing but are afraid due to lack of knowledge, how do we get this knowledge and not be so afraid of it?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of things that you could do when you're in, right? You could continually read up on the markets. For some of us, that may be quite confusing, right? Because we don't know where to start.
Right.
But an excellent tool that I used when I first started getting into the financial industry was a website called Investopedia. right? So that's investopedia.com. And, you know, I would just Google, I would just research certain terms. What is an asset? You know, what is a liability? What is the difference between savings and investing? So you can do your own independent research, right? And with the university of YouTube, there's really nothing that we can't figure out, right? Now, beside that, you could seek out some professional advice, right? You could seek out a financial advisor, such as myself or some other financial advisor on island or wherever you are in the world, and try to get that financial advice. And for most people, that's the route that they have to go, right? Because everyone has jobs, right? You know, they're busy, they have families, they have lives, and they can't sit down and, you know, kind of go through this financial information and follow their investments every single day. So they may hire a financial professional to assist them in that regard. So that kind of takes some of that scare, that fear away, right? Because you have somebody that you can rely on. So most recently, if people are aware, the markets are volatile, right? They're all over the place. You know, what we're currently in a bear market, which means that the market, you know, on average is trading 20% lower than its all-time highs. So I'm having meetings every single day, right? And they're more so just emotional gut checks, okay? Just helping people listen, let's refocus. What are we investing for? What is our time horizon, right? And then just talking through and having those conversations. So, you know, outside of that independent research and study, seeking out a financial professional is really going to kind of minimize that risk or that fear, if you will.
We've got quite a few comments from the audience. I'm going to go to the audience at this point. Rosalind Famous is asking, what do you think about an index fund?
So index funds are awesome tools, right? And for those who don't know what an index fund is, it's a passive investment strategy or asset, if you will, right? What an index does is it'll take a specific sector or an index, if you will. For example, the S&P 500, right, which tracks the 500 most, you know, largest companies. And what that will do is it will just create a fund or a passive investment strategy to just match up with that index. And then, you know, you just invest in that. So what that does is it takes a lot of the thinking out for a lot of people, right? Because you've just got your money invested. And over time, markets, they accrue in value, right? So even though now we're going through this downturn in the market, it's going to turn around. You know, it may be another 12 months, 8 months, 24 months, but it'll turn around and overall it'll appreciate in value. So index funds are an awesome tool. And generally speaking, they're relatively low cost compared to other assets. So definitely should be a part of your portfolio.
Karen Simmons is asking, is it advisable to consult an investment advisor for the lump sum investing?
100%. It's probably more important to consult a financial advisor on a lump sum rather than, you know, a regular savings, right? Because lump sum, you're generally dealing with larger amounts of money, right? And, you know, you just want to ensure that you're putting that money in the right environment at a risk appetite that's suitable for you. And then it's also good to just have somebody to bounce ideas off of, right? Because especially right now, it's a lot of volatility. So some people may get spooked. They may see the money go down 15, 20% and say, yeah, Jason, I'm going to pull it out. And that's when you say, no, let's sit down, let's sit still. Let's not crystallize this loss. Let's wait. Let's move things around. Let this rebound because we don't want to lose any money. So lump sum, very important. Definitely consult a financial advisor.
All right. Renee Simmons asking, with the market fluctuating as it does, isn't it wiser to invest in bonds and equities?
Yeah, it really depends on where you are as far as your time horizon, right? So, you know, if you're looking to retire or you're going to need this money within the near term, you know, 5 years, then it would make sense to have your portfolio consist of more bonds and low risk assets than equities. However, you know, if you're a younger person or your time horizon's a bit longer, it's a great opportunity right now to buy. You know, equities, as I tell my clients, are on sale, right? You know, you've got an asset that used to trade, for example, at $10. That asset is now priced at roughly around $8 and $7. Now, you can buy that asset at $7 because eventually it's going to regain its fair value at roughly around 10. And guess what? It's going to have a future value of $12, $15, $20. So essentially, you could buy a future valued asset at 20 for $7 today. So if you've got a longer time horizon, I'm always pro equities. I'm somewhat like Warren Buffett in that regard.
Alrighty. Couple more questions. I know we've got to go, but Rosalind Fame is asking, is Robinhood a good app to do retail investing?
I can't speak on it. I can't provide any first-hand advice. I don't use Robinhood. I use TD Ameritrade. It works. I'm not sure where you're located, but Bermudians, it's very straightforward process. I've had success with it, so I can't speak on Robinhood.
Alrighty. Shonette Bell's asking, what would be the minimum amount to invest? Well, let me, as she says that, I use a company, Lines Overseas Management in Bermuda, and I know for them it was 25K, and long before marriage, I had that kind of money, right? But there are some companies, right, that it's easier. Some have a limit 5,000, some don't have any limits, some have these big, high amounts, and to some people 25,000, they don't just have that in the pocket. But what is would be a minimum amount to invest, you would say, for the norm?
Well, it really depends on where you are, right, and what company you invest with. Certain places on island, their goal is to have assets under management, so you've got to have deep pockets if you want to invest with them. $25, $50, $100,000. I can speak for IFP. Our investments lump sum wise start as low as 10,000, right? And if you're looking to set aside money on a consistent basis, there's regular savings vehicles start as low as $300. So we provide access to a large population, or a large sector of the financial population, if you will.
All righty. Okay, I promise I'm gonna let you go real quickly. Just one last one. Charles H. Jefferson II says, is it better to have an advisor who is a paid fixed fee or percentage of assets?
That is a very good question. It depends, right? If you are an investment savvy investor, or an investor who has a lot of money, it may be in your interest financially to have a flat fee set up, right? Because if you're investing millions of dollars and this advisor is getting a certain percentage, the commission that advisor can be making can, kind of somewhat go through the roof. So if you negotiate a flat fee, that could assist you. Now, for those looking to just, set aside money on a consistent basis, or, looking to invest 10, 20,000, it may be in their best interest to do it on a percentage basis. But it all depends on, how the company is set up, and what their core structure is and their value, right? I can say at IFP, once you become a client of mine, you're a client of mine, the entire time. So at any moment you can give me a call. I don't charge to sit down with my clients. So it really just depends on the proposition of the company that you're invested with.
Alrighty. And real quickly, before you go, how can people get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more, how you can help them?
Yeah, so you can reach me directly. My email is jlowe, JLOWE @ifp.bm. So that's IFP as in International Financial Planning. .bm, that's like Bermuda money, right? So you can email me, or you can go on our company website. You can click on my name and you can contact me that way. But feel free to email me directly, or you can give me a call, 441-532-0177.
And let me just say before you go, I'm going to call out, I don't call her by name, but Cherie Dill, she's very influential in what we do on this show. And she had been pretty much calling your name for almost a year, if not more, to have you on this show because of the conversation that we're having. So I'm grateful that we finally got you on. To me, there's not ever going to be enough time because there's so much more that we can discuss with this. But thank you. And in the future, we probably would want to do this again. So thank you so much, Jason, for doing this. And the audience definitely appreciated you, as they have some questions and comments still going. But thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jason Lowe, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, found the information helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, and like. And folks, please, I'm begging you, share these conversations with your friends and family.
Absolutely.
Seriously. I wanted to go in more depth about the emergency fund. Like I have opinions, and we'll probably talk in a future episode about all of this. But we're going to take a quick break. Come back, wrap it up with the the daily play, and I'm just saying.
I was shouting joy to the world.
Yeah, well, we'll see what you're shouting today. Stick with it.
I know, right?
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
There's no such thing as brave people, just regular people who make brave choices. So being brave is a choice that you can wake up every single morning and make. And if you make that choice to be brave and to follow those dreams, it will change your life in ways unimaginable. And that's not just in sport, that's in life.
Alrighty, welcome back, and thanks again to Jason Lowe for having this conversation about investing and finances with us. Folks, if I had it my way, we'd probably be doing something every week on this conversation and this topic. I just think it's too important for our community not to know some of this stuff. Like I said, I have an MBA and I still ask a lot of questions regarding stuff. And Investopedia, I do Google. Like he said, some things, the answers are right there. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Lindos, and Medical Health for ensuring we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. It's time for the Daily Play. Brought to you by Heineken 0.0, great taste, no alcohol, and Bermuda Trivia. Now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sherry, are you ready?
Let's see if you're going to go easy on me like you did Sancha yesterday.
Oh, wow. Sancha didn't get, yeah, it's about an easy one. Okay. All right. It's holiday trivia. It's very easy. It's very easy. Are you ready?
Come on, all right. Faithful.
What song was originally titled, quote, One Horse Open Sleigh?
Jingle Bells.
Okay. Cool.
I'm back.
Yeah. The boss is speaking. Phil's right. We're going to wrap this up. Football's back on.
Listen.
Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on this morning's discussion and obviously the conversation with Jason. Sherry, come on.
I in my opinion, of just know the norms and the cultures that you're entering into and respect them. If you don't, then don't go to those countries or places. As far as Jason, I love that the knowledge that he provides, and he's making it a very simple process that we should all be involved in.
Yeah.
I just had to say it real quick.
I want to say this, happy belated birthday to Nicole Walker, who's out there cheering on Sherry. You've got quite a few people out there cheering you on with your answers. It's just come a long way, folks. It's come a long way. As far as the discussion, I think it's very clear. Folks, we speak about consequences often, right? We have to respect people and their cultures and their laws. If we don't agree with them, no one's forcing us to go into those spaces, right? And we can inspire the people of those countries. If they want change, we can inspire them in other ways. But just know there's consequences. As far as Jason Lowe, this to me was probably one of the most important conversations we've had to date. We've had 600 something episodes. This is up there as one of the most important. The way he spoke about the information, the way he engaged us with the information. I obviously am interested in this kind of stuff. I'm no expert at it, but appreciate those who are willing to share the wealth of information that they have. Cherry, so many people have dropped off watching on YouTube. They must be going to watch the World Cup, huh? Everybody's gone. Like everybody's gone. Like there's no more. They just ditched us for the World Cup. All right. Well, let's let them go. But you got some daily inspiration for them first.
Let me say it very quickly. Take the opportunity to learn from your mistakes. Find the cause of your problem and eliminate it. Don't try to be perfect. Just be an excellent example of being human. And that's Anthony Robbins.
Wow, thank
Good
you.
day. Bye.
My goodness. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman, my friends. Please do make it a safe and a great day. And my goodness, World Cup is back on, folks. It's time to say goodbye.